For years, I was caught in fearful, obsessive, self-critical, and despairing thought patterns. In my early 20s, I was at university and I felt like I had no control over my mind. I was constantly lost in negative thinking, and this fueled chronic nervous system dysregulation and very unhelpful behaviors. I remember thinking at the time that my thinking patterns were just destroying my life. For those listening, I know you're also stuck in this negative thinking spiral. So in this video, I'm going to share a specialized skill that my team of therapists created that can change your thinking patterns and help you take control of your mind. Now, this skill can help you create safe, compassionate thinking patterns. I use this skill to overcome my own negative thinking, and this also greatly helped me regulate my nervous system. So please know this is possible. In my approach, we call negative thinking danger self-talk. Now, danger self-talk increases a sense of danger in your nervous system. And danger self-talk could include things like worrying, fearful thinking, obsessive thinking, self-critical thinking, or despairing and hopeless thinking patterns. Now, danger self-talk over time, because it dysregulates your nervous system, it can lead to the symptoms of anxiety, depression, trauma, chronic pain, and chronic symptoms. Again, danger self-talk increases that danger level in your nervous system, which is why it can produce all the conditions that I just listed. Now, the goal is to change your thinking from danger self-talk to safety self-talk. Now, this is possible, but it's going to take a lot of consistency and practice. I remember when I was early on in my healing journey, I really committed to changing my thinking patterns from danger self-talk to safety self-talk. It's probably all I focused on for a few months. And as a result, I was able to overcome my danger self-talk. So this is possible. It's just going to take a lot of consistency and effort. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about the skill that my team of therapists created. Now, this is called the ADS skill, ADDS. Now, the ADS skill adds a sense of safety to your thinking patterns. Now, I thought what would be helpful is as I go through the ADS skill and explain each of the steps that you can start to do, we can go through it with an example thoughts. So let's use the example danger self-talk thought of I'm never going to succeed in life because I'm in too much pain, I'm too anxious, and I'm too depressed. So that's the thought that we're going to use during the ADS skill. Now, the first step in the ADS skill, the A, is ask why. So at first, you want to briefly, not for too long, but briefly ask why are you having these negative thinking patterns? Why is the danger self-talk taking place? So this could be for a number of reasons. Maybe you're already dysregulated in your nervous system. Maybe you're in fight or flight, or you're in a freeze and shut down state. And like the famous therapist Deb Dana talks about, story follows state. So if you're in a dysregulated state in your nervous system, the story is going to follow. Like if you're in fight or flight, the story that follows in your mind is probably going to be based in fear and anger. If you're in freeze and shut down, the story that's going to follow is going to be one of despair and hopelessness and helplessness. And so you're asking why is your danger self-talk happening? It could be because you're just already dysregulated. It could be because your pain or physical symptoms are bothering you and feel overwhelming. Or your danger self-talk could be happening because you just got triggered by a certain stimuli. It could be a certain person, place, time of day, day of the week. Or it could be a certain sensory experience like sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Now, when you're asking why, you don't want to spend too long here. Like, don't be doing this for 3 hours. But doing this for, 5 minutes or so and just trying to figure out, you may not be able to figure it out exactly, but trying to figure out, okay, why am I thinking in this way? Why is the danger self-talk happening? Now, with our example of the person that's having that self-talk of, I'm not going to succeed in life, I'm in too much pain, I'm too depressed, I'm too anxious. Maybe they were watching a medical show with all these super successful doctors. And that was a trigger for them because there's all these super successful doctors in the show they're watching. They're now comparing that to their own situation where they're struggling to get by, they're struggling to work, they're struggling to get motivated. And perhaps that's the trigger. Or on top of that, maybe they just woke up feeling a lot of despair, sadness, shut down energy. And so that paired with the trigger of the medical show is the reason they're having this despairing thought that they're never going to succeed in life. So that's step one of the ad skill. Step two is drop in and describe. This is a chance for embodiment. You need to drop in to your thinking patterns and into the sensations in your nervous system and start to describe them and get to know them. We're actually approaching our thinking and how we feel inside. And so you want to start to notice, like, what are the types of thoughts that are happening? In the example we're talking about right now, this person doesn't think they're going to succeed in life. So they're having a lot of high judgmental thoughts towards themselves. They're catastrophizing about their future. And they're having a lot of despairing, hopeless, helpless thinking take place. So you're starting to assess, okay, what are all the thoughts that are taking place and where are they landing? You also want to notice the feelings. Are you in a fight state? Are you feeling angry or irritated or frustrated? Are you in a flight state where you feel fearful, anxious, or panicked? Or are you in a freeze and shutdown state where you feel numb, disconnected, dissociative, hopeless, or helpless? Now, in the example we're using, I would suspect the person who thinks they're not going to succeed in life, this sounds like a shutdown state that they're in, where they're frozen, they're immobilized, they're feeling hopeless and helpless about the world. So far, we've had them ask why and then drop in and describe the thoughts and the feelings. So these are the first two steps. The third step of the ad skill is where you got to get a bit creative. This is shift to safety signals. So following the drop in and describe, you want to shift to safety. See, the drop in and describe, you're actively approaching and allowing yourself to be with the unpleasant thoughts and feelings. Because we don't just want to run away and avoid those. We want to drop in, describe, and really be with them. But then you can shift to a safety signal to bring some safety back into your nervous system. Now, when you're using safety signals, there's kind of three options. You can use them separately, or you could use all three together if you want epic safety: cognitive, behavioral, and somatic. So cognitively, we can start to intentionally use safe self-talk. Now, don't make this toxically positive. Like if this person's thinking, oh, I'm never going to succeed in life, I'm in too much pain, not motivated, I'm anxious, I'm depressed. If they told themselves, I'm going to be a millionaire within 6 months, I'm going to be super epically successful in my career, I'm going to work 16 hours a day until I make my first million. That's toxically positive. They're probably not going to be able to have that sudden of a shift. You want your safe self-talk when you're doing the cognitive safety signals to be more balanced and realistic, but towards safety. So perhaps this person could remind themselves, hey, 5 years ago, I felt this way. I felt really depressed for about 6 months. I felt like I was never going to succeed. But since then, I was able to go and complete my degree. Things got better. I was able to actually make progress towards my career. I was actually able to develop healthier friendships in that time period. And now in the present, I've been feeling really dysregulated again. But I know I've been able to overcome this before. I'll be able to overcome this again. And eventually I can work towards success in small steps. See, that's a safer self-talk message that you're giving yourself that is balanced and probably more realistic. Now, the cognitive is just one of the safety signals. Behavioral is the next one. So with behavioral safety signals, what you're doing is you're helping yourself shift out of your mind, away from the negative thinking patterns, and into living life. So if you can, you want to shift to focus all your attention on a behavior in the present. If you can make it an enjoyable behavior, it's going to create the most safety. Like if I'm in a thought spiral, I might go to the hot tub at the gym, or I might go use the elliptical at the gym. Like I'm doing something that I tend to enjoy and that tends to help calm me. Now, you could also do this with anything in life. Perhaps it's watching a TV show that's funny. It could be going for a walk. If you're working, it might just be bringing all your focus to the task and seeing if you can get in the groove of working and bringing some purpose into your system. So again, you're shifting out of your mind and into living life. We want to not ignore our thoughts. That's why we did the drop in and describe first. But after we do that, we want to teach our brain, I don't need to be so lost in the chatter of my mind. I can refocus, be in the present while living life. Now, the third safety signal that you could shift to is somatic. So this has a number of ways you can play with this. Kind of like behaviors where we had you shift mind to behavior. Now we're having you shift mind to body, mind to being in the sensations. So one of the ways I have people do somatic is they might do an embodiment practice where they start to explore dysregulation they feel inside. So if you take the example of this person where they're feeling, like they're never going to succeed in life, they're getting lost in this hopeless, helpless thinking, I might have that person push the thoughts to the back of their mind. We don't have to ignore them, just make them background characters in the movie, and then drop into their body. And notice, you feel really numb. You feel a sinking feeling inside. You feel your body feel really heavy, tense, kind of pushed down. I'm having them drop in, describe, and see if they can sit there for a while and create some safety. And as they sit there, I want them, each time they bounce back up to their mind, to gently bring their focus back to their body. Again, if we can start to regulate the nervous system, their thoughts are going to naturally start to shift. So that's why I really like the somatic version of shifting to a safety signal, because we need to go to the source, the deeper healing work of being with the sensations of dysregulation. Now, as they get exposure to being with that shutdown feeling, I might have them use safety signals of present moment sensing, breath work, somatic movement, visualization, tapping or massage. I'm having them use the safety signals so they can hang out in their body longer and explore the unpleasant sensations inside. Now, an alternative version that anyone could do with shifting to a somatic safety signal is maybe you don't focus on the unpleasant. The alternative is you just could use a safety signal. So you could just use any of the safety signals I just mentioned without focusing on any of the unpleasant dysregulation. So that is an option. It's probably not my preference that people do that too much, but sometimes if the dysregulation is too high, dropping into the body just feels too inaccessible. It's going to be too intolerable. So I might have a person instead just use a somatic safety signal. So this is the add skill that you can utilize when you're having that dangerous self-talk. I hope this video was helpful and really broke down and gave a skill that will be useful for your healing. Please put your questions, comments down below, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.